Hello friends and potential friends. Well, today is January 3rd, 2023. It's been about a week and a half since the last of the freezing night, and I decided to come out here and do a final assessment of what made it and what didn't. Start off here on the patio. Pencil cactus. It's hard to kill a pencil cactus. That thing looks fine. And as you can see, it's just kind of laying here. Been laying here for probably 6 months or more. I had one time that spent at least 2 years laying on its side in a little 6-inch pot that had absolutely no soil in it. Just a ball of root. And it lived fine. In fact, this might be it. With these pencil cactuses, it's purely ornamental. You can't eat them. They got a milky white sap in them that is poisonous to humans and most animals. But you can just take a branch off of this and stick it in the ground and it'll grow. Other ornamentals, I don't pay a lot of attention to the ornamentals, mainly because I can't eat them. So they just kind of grow wild in here. I've got spider plants down there on the ground trying to become ground cover. There's another ornamental up here that, well, it got there on its own. If you look at the size of that barrel, you can see the roots moving up it. There's some of it down there that seems to be good, so it'll probably fill in here again before too long. On the other side, I've got some of these wafer cactuses. Not sure what the real name is. I don't pay a lot of attention to them either. But there's this corn plant up here, which, even though it's got some green in it, I believe that is pretty much toast. I'm going to have to cut that back probably, or maybe even remove it completely. It's purely ornamental, never really paid much attention to it, but it's not in the best of shape today. Now, comfrey down there, standing up proud. The mint, that's coming back. These two avocados, I'm really surprised, but they seem to have made it through just fine. Now this guy here, I used to know the name of that. Todd, I believe, has one of these, and he said the name of it in one of his videos. It's like Pachypodium or something like that. But it is not looking good at all. I haven't looked for any mushiness on it, mainly because it bites when you touch it. So we're just going to have to see if that one comes back. I used to have 2 of them, and one of them died during a freeze probably 5-6 years ago. The ginger and turmeric, I think I mentioned that it had already started dying back before the freeze. So this is just natural for it. I may have to do a little harvest here before long. And I've got an idea kicking around in my head as to how I'm going to deal with that next year. In the experimental bed, there's some more ornamentals over there on the far side that took a pretty big hit. Aloe's still doing good, although I see a couple of them there that are spotted up pretty bad. That's more comfrey in here, and another rosemary. The pineapples, I really need to move these out into the mini orchard. Maybe I'll do that as part of the turmeric endeavor. But I am noticing that there's a lot of these little white spots all over some of the pineapples. And I don't know whether that is damage from the frost and freeze or what. But we'll just have to do a wait and see on that one. Salad tower, not really changing. I mean, most of these things are alive, but that's about it. They don't seem to be growing. And these have been in here for a couple of months now. I think it's a matter of where they're at. They're just not getting enough light. Strawberries, well, that one doesn't look good at all. It's the oldest plant in here. But there are still a couple of them here that are looking pretty good. So I might have to go to the store and get some more strawberries and see about getting some more seeds going. These aloes in the pots, for the most part, they took a hit, but they're still going to recover, it looks like. And the elderberry really just doesn't seem to be changed at all. Now into the main garden. Again, a couple of the pineapples have got these white spots all over them. And I'll just have to wait and see what happens with them. Oop, that scares me. The center leaves are looking bad. So we'll wait and see on them too. The next one down there, I see some of the center leaves on it are looking pretty bad too. I've cleaned up the tomatoes. Yes, I lost all the tomatoes in this back garden. I still have a couple out front in one of the towers. And rosemary, they're just keep on going. And something that's kind of got me a little bit worried, my dragon tree. It definitely took a hit during the freeze, but I suspect that at the very least it'll come back from the roots. Some of these branches and trunks might make it. That one's been with me for quite a while. That was a present from the department secretary when I went to work at the college up in Jacksonville, which I started there in 1986 or 87. And that thing's been with me ever since. Secretary gave me one of those little desktop ornamental plantings that had a little tiny dragon tree, maybe 2-3 inches tall, and one of those little grafted cactuses with the orange ball on top. And that's the same dragon tree. The cactus, well, eventually the ball on top of it died, and then the little three-pronged base that they grafted it onto went crazy. I was cutting that stuff off and giving it away as fast as I could, and I never could keep up with it. In fact, there was some growing up that oak tree at one time. It grew about 30 feet up in the air. I didn't ever consider it to be a dragon fruit because it never produced any flowers or fruit, but it was an interesting plant. Let's see, cilantro, elephant garlic, various radishes seem to be coming back good. All of the eggplant died, so they can't handle the cold. I guess I'll have to plant those in the spring again and see what they can do then. But this is broccoli over here, and it's coming back. It's more comfrey. That's where the okra was at. And down here, I've got some curly kale that's starting to come back good. And you see a couple of Swiss chard plants down there. Those were in the lab during the freeze, so they made it through fine, and a couple days ago I came out and planted them out here. The rest of the Swiss chard that was already here went flat to the ground and started rotting, so it couldn't handle the freeze. But the other kale and the cabbage collards, they're standing up good and putting on new growth. And there's still a little bit of lettuce over there that somehow made it through the freeze. This tomato bed completely empty now. Not sure what I'm going to put in there. But over here in this greens bed, we've got the cauliflower at the end here, which is recovering nicely and starting to put on new growth. Then we have the Brussels sprouts, and they're coming back nice. The Mishihili cabbage, Asian cabbage, coming back pretty nice. A few of the top leaves have got some damage on them, but for the most part, they're coming back good. And then, as expected, the cabbage, the red acre cabbage and the green acre cabbage, those are coming back nicely as well. This is where the garden peach tomatoes were at. They're all out scattered in the mini orchard now, becoming compost. And as you can see, this other pineapple here has got a lot of those white spots on it too. And the center leaves are not looking real good. So we'll just have to keep an eye on them. If the main plant starts dying, they may produce pups, or they may not. And these empty pots over here, those were more of the garden peach. This little green 2x2 bed here had a couple extra potato slips in it, sweet potatoes. I dug through those, I found one little tiny sweet potato. This pineapple doesn't have the little white spots all over it, so it might have made it through better. And then the patience garden just keeps on going. In fact, there's another stem coming up. Let me see if I'll go ahead and try to zoom in on it. If I can decide where to put the camera. No, that's not working well. Maybe from another angle. Can't seem to get it to focus there. But here we have, there you can see it, about an inch and a half tall. That one just popped up about 2 days ago. And it looks like it's going to be pretty good size. But I'm going to keep being patient because these things are just entering their 3rd year. And I want to give them plenty of time to get settled good. And incidentally, I did also go through and put a few more asparagus seedlings in here. I think I got 5 down here at this end and 3 at the other end. And I'll be putting some more seeds in the ground pretty quick to see if I can fill this whole bed in. Now let's go back to the mini orchard. Walking back into the mini orchard, got this hibiscus that seems to be doing fine. Which is kind of funny because I've never planted a hibiscus in a pot. So that thing wound up in there on its own. The lemongrass is looking pretty good. The gardenia is looking not so good. All the leaves have gone brown, and that's another case where I'm just going to have to wait and see if it'll come back. I hope it does. I don't have ready access to another gardenia tree or plant to get some more cuttings going. This avocado, this is my south of Miami, Florida avocado. It did take some hits from the freeze. A lot of the leaves are brown, but a lot of the leaves are still green too. I haven't seen any new growth on it yet, but I got a feeling that's just a matter of time. So we'll let it go and do its thing. There's one of my gardening buddies, Snowflake. Hi, Snowflake. How you doing? Yeah. Yeah. And let's see, Ponderosa lemon, the original, still looking good. Well, not good, but as well as it can be. There's still a little bit of green on that lemon. And the smaller one up here is still doing fine. The loquat, still doing good. I didn't really expect that. As long as it gets sunlight, even a little bit, it'll keep on growing. That's my Meyer lemon. And that's already got some new growth on it. Look at that. Yeah, that's already got some new growth coming on. The papayas, I'm not sure. I'm not ready to dig them up yet, so for now they're just going to stay where they're at, and we'll hope for the best. Some of the pineapples out here have got little white spots on them. And the guava, well, its leaves have been slowly turning brown. And that's another case where we'll just have to leave it alone and see if it makes it coming back. Over here is a pomegranate. Grew that one from seed and it looks like it's doing good. Another papaya, not looking good at all, but it does have this thing on it. Now, I am not sure what that is. It feels like cotton. And I really don't know what that is. But yeah, it feels like a cotton ball. Looks like there's some seeds in there, but I have no idea what that is. Let's see, the fig that's out in the open dropped all its leaves, but I see that one small stem down there has already got a little bit of new growth on it, so that one will probably come back. The big papaya, all the leaves are down, and I'd have to get a ladder to take a good look at it, but there's some green at the very top of it, so that might be starting to put out some new leaves. And as we walk along here, there's my other fig tree. Still has leaves. That one should be doing good. I keep considering digging that up and moving it to where it'll get more sunlight, but so far I haven't done that. I've got some more rosemary I planted out here near the sugar cane. And this morning I noticed that there's some new sugar cane stalks starting to pop up. There's a couple of them in there. So I might have to do something with them soon too. The mulberry, most of the leaves have gone brown on me, but it does still have some green left in it and probably will make a return. And here's my other pomegranate. Incidentally, this is one of the spots where the tomatoes are at. So we may have some volunteer tomatoes coming up out here too. And then the moringa over here in the corner. I pulled all the leaves off of it the other day. I really should cut those branches off of it. But more than likely, when it warms up a little bit more, that thing will probably be coming back. And incidentally, the warms up a little bit more is just a figure of speech because it's already been up near 80 the last couple of days, and we're supposed to get to, they're predicting 79 again today. So we're back into summer, it looks like, and I'm itching to get some more seeds planted, but I have to try to resist just a little bit longer. Let's make one last stop, I think, then we'll bring this thing to a halt. Okay, just to complete the assessment, I've got a couple of garden peach tomato plants here in the tower that are not looking all that great. They dropped all their blossoms and any fruit they had on them, but they are still alive. And I'm thinking I might take some cuttings off of these two plants and see if I can get them to root. The nasturtiums on this side took a hit, but there's still a lot of life left in them. And the rest of the lettuce up here is doing just fine. And I've been munching on that from time to time. Get a few salads out of it. Over on the other side of this tomato tower, this is more garden peach tomatoes. There's one or two, three of them in here. They still have blossoms, and they still have peaches on them. That's my hope for some seeds. And I don't know whether I'm going to take a chance of doing any cuttings off of them or not. There's 1, 2, 3, looks like 4 of them that are doing pretty good. And of course this side of the salad tower is doing fine. These nasturtiums are just doing good. These were the ones that were protected and kind of on the side facing the wall instead of the street. But that's pretty much the current state of the garden. after they've had a week and a half to decide what they were going to do. And now it's time for me to decide what I'm going to do. And I am surely itching to start planting more seeds, but it's still January and I normally don't plant seeds until February. So we'll see what we do. And meanwhile, I'll see you next time.